Shall we move to the next topic? Okay. Anyone has any doubt on the string? Now, because I will be working on new topic, what I'll do, create a new file. Instead of calling it as functions, I will call it as array. Okay, because now we are talking about arrays. Now when I'm using arrays, what I want is this file should be used in my console. When I say console is the web browser. So essentially this file should go to my browser instead of the operator in string where I need to make a change. For this, where do I need to make the change? You're getting what I'm saying? So HTML file exactly. So right now I'm taking operator in string. Instead of that, what do I want to have? Arrays.js, right? And the moment I took arrays.js, you see my console is clean. And even if you see in the network tab, if I refresh the page, see, if I refresh the page, let me just clean this. See which file came? Arrays.js, right? What is the preview? Nothing is there because I haven't written anything in the file, right? What if I write something? Console.log arrays. Save it. This is the arrays file which came in, right? So what is happening from my local system, because my local system itself is acting like a server, right? So browser is requesting my local system to get the information out of it. So you see this, right? 127.0.01. This actually, this IP address is called as your local host. This IP address is called as your local host. That means your local computer. So basically your browser is requesting your local computer only at port number 5500 to give some data. Maybe some problem you must, I guess we'll see after this session, Ashutosh. So session ke baad mujhe ping karna, matlab ping, or maybe put it on the question answer section, and we'll do it after the session. We'll try to make it work in your system then, not in between the session. Okay. Okay, now let's talk about arrays. Okay, 1 minute. So again, we'll be talking about what are arrays, what are array properties, what are array operations, what all things we can do with the arrays. Okay, come here. Okay, I will come and create a new board. So I'll just give you a little bit of theory and then we'll talk about it. Arrays. Okay. Now see this array which we have, correct? It is not something which is like just about programming. Okay, array in general means what? Collection of things, like a array of books. That means multiple books are there, like in English, like that's a normal word. That is multiple things. So the idea of array is basically multiple. Okay, it is multiple. Now if you remember the way we were creating the variables, right? And if you remember the data types, when we talked about data types, so we had two data types. One was primitive, which contains a single value, and then we had what? Non-primitive, right? In non-primitive we had array. In non-primitive we also had array. Now when we say let x equals to 1, so what happens is, understand this, consider this is your computer memory. When I say computer memory, consider your RAM, right? So you have your computer memory. So whenever your program runs, it will allocate information in the RAM and will keep on reading those values from the RAM. So when that happens, what it does, it basically allocates this x equals to 1 means it is allocating 1. It is allocating 1 somewhere in the memory. Correct? It is allocating 1 somewhere in the memory. Now when you say array, in array what happens? We basically have multiple items. The way we do it in JavaScript is, consider if I say let x equals to arr. Arr is like variable only, right? Array. In JavaScript, if I need to create an array, what I can do, I can use this square bracket, close the square bracket, and whatever the items I will put inside it will be part of the array. So for example, if I say 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4, so basically this is an array which got 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. So what happens in the memory, right? essentially what is being allocated is 1, 2, 3, 4. So in the memory, one block is given to 1, then 2, then 3, and all these blocks will be together. All these blocks will be together. Clear? That is what an array is. Okay. In most of the programming languages, in most of your programming languages, say C, Java, and all, whenever you create an array will always have same element. So basically, if you create an array of of number, so it will have just numbers. It will not have string. It will not have boolean. But that is not the case with JavaScript. In JavaScript, you can have an array like 1 comma true comma hello comma false comma like this, not comma last mein. So basically, in your array, you can have any type of item. Today, we haven't talked about, as of now, we have not talked about objects and functions, but your array can also contain your object and function. So when I'll talk about object and function, I will again write an array which will contain object and functions as well. Everyone clear with the array? Like what is an array? Anyone has any doubt? So mostly Bhupender, they will, so again, this is not something which Bhupender you need to be worried about. That is something JavaScript does by itself. But yes, they all are stored in one single place. Okay, one after another. मतलब I'll most likely I'll remember Nikhil, but if at all I don't, you guys can tell me. I'll kind of remember, right? For example, conditional operator I had not told you, so I just told you that again. Correct. Again, whenever we talk in programming, the thing called index, right? It always start with 0. So in here also, the position of 1 is actually 0. It is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the size, if I ask about the size of this array, the size is actually 5. Correct, because there are 5 elements, but the first element is actually sitting at the 0th position. It is not sitting at the first position. It is actually sitting on the 0th position. Okay, clear everyone? Okay, maybe let's do this in action and then you will get it. Okay, so we have this document. Okay, and we are talking about arrays. So what I'm going to be doing is I'll create an array. First array we will create, let arr equals to, this is my first array, 1 comma 2 comma 3. Okay, and I'll say console.log. Now, why do you want to use array? Okay, so let's understand this also. Like, why do you need to have an array? Now, think about this, right? You are writing a program. So, essentially, what you're doing, you're going to be writing an application, a website, or something like that. Now, consider what kind of data you might have. So, obviously, there could be like you are working with a single variable which is having, say, name, age, or something like that. But there can also be a possibility that you might be working with a collection of things like multiple names at once, right? For example, you have 100 names. Okay, so if you do not have array, what you will be doing, you will be creating 100 variables. You will be creating 100 variables, but that is not correct, right? Instead of that, what you can do, you can create one array that can contain 100 names, to contain 100 names, right? That is how your array is basically useful for you. Agree everyone? I hope everyone agrees to that. Cool. So this is the array. Now see what I'm saying, console log the array. And if I save this, I got an array 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now what I'll do, one more thing is, I'll just show you this console.log. We have something called type of, right? You know already. So I would like to know what is the type of array. Save it. It is telling me object. The type of array is object. So even though if it is an array is actually an object. Array is an object. Again, when we'll talk about object, this thing will get clear. Okay, I just wanted to tell you this thing. Why I told you this thing, so that you can ask me if at all I miss this thing. Okay, so array is actually object only. Okay, or maybe I'll just put it here so that you guys, I'll just say remind me when we talk about. ठीक है. I mean, see, Nikhil, it is a non-primitive data type. See, but the non-primitive data type is actually an object only, to be very frank. And with the object, actually, you can create array. You can also create functions. Okay, a function is also an object in JavaScript. When we'll talk about functions, at that time, you'll get it. Okay. So cool. Okay, this is like one way that you can create, right? This is something you could say we basically by using this syntax of doing things, it calls literal way. So when we create like this, for example, when we were creating string also, so we said x equals to string, whatever that string is. That is a literal way of writing things. So this is a literal way of writing an array or creating an array. Correct? There is another way that you could create an array. Okay, that is I could say ARR equals to, now see, this is the same variable I am using it here, right? Because it is let, I can change the variable again and again, right? If it would be const, I cannot do it. Correct? Const me, I cannot change the variable again. However, if it is a let or var keyword, I can change the array again and again. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'll say new. Remember new keyword, right? New array. So if I would like to create a new array, I can use this array, do this double quotes, okay, and say I would like to have an array for hello yellow. Okay. Now if I do a console log of this ARR and save it here, you see I got hello yellow. Got it? Acha, this thing, right? Right now you might be getting confused. What is it and what is happening? What is it and what is happening? New equals to array. Why is this working and how it is working? All this thing I will clear when we'll talk about object. Okay. What if you don't use double quotes? Yes, if you don't want to use double quotes, what you can say? Anything you can give it here. You remember? I told you a JavaScript array can take anything. If I do this, what I got? Hello, 12 and 2. That is also part of the array. Okay. But again, how does this actually worked? Why it worked? This is something I will talk about in objects. Cool? Everyone? Are without Mukesh, if we don't use double quotes, then it will be a variable, na? See, if I remove this double quotes, then what JavaScript will look? JavaScript will think hello is a variable. That is how you create a variable, right? Like ARR is a variable. So JavaScript is thinking hello is a variable. And if I save my changes, see, I'm getting an error. Hello is not defined. It is telling hello, you have not written anywhere. Correct? Hello is considered as a variable. However, if I do this, hello equals to hello. If I do this, then it is fine. Then it worked again, right? Because when this hello, it looked for this hello, it got this value also. Clear? So I'll just remove this thing. So we know two ways that we could create hello. Sorry, we could create array. Okay. Everyone clear? Doubt? Okay. But most of the times, right, what is being asked that you can use just this way. You don't need to use this way. I mean, this is like a recommended way of doing things. Okay. This is a recommended way of doing things. Okay. Again, we can mix and match. We can do mix and match. Yes, Nasim, we can do that. I'll talk about it. If type of array is an object, then why doesn't come under objects only? Ashwar, why it does not, see, ideally it should come under that. But the thing is, when JavaScript came into existence, right? So JavaScript, before JavaScript, people already had other programming languages, right? And in there, the arrays work differently. So because JavaScript wanted to sell itself, so what it did, it kind of showed people that even it is following those kind of structure. That is why, see, the name JavaScript, why did they give the name JavaScript? Because at that time Java was popular. Because Java was popular, so what the people thought, the creator of JavaScript thought, if I gave the name like JavaScript, people will think this is similar to JavaScript. So people will use more JavaScript. So that was the intention, marketing strategy though. Exactly. Okay. So that is one more reason a lot of things in JavaScript are little different than other programming languages, because JavaScript was trying to do something, but it had to do something else as well, right? It wanted to make itself appealing to people, so that's why it brought some of the features from the other programming languages like Java and other languages, so that people feel like, the programmer can use JavaScript better, right? And at the same time JavaScript wanted to do itself certain things, so that's why people say JavaScript is little a different thing. Okay, sometimes JavaScript works in a weird way. That is the reason. Cool. Now, as I said, the array actually can contain any type of element, right? That is what I told you. That means a array can contain array also. A array can contain array also. Let's see this. Consider this, that I created an array. Okay. Let's call it as let arr2. Okay. In this, what I'm going to do, 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma another array, 1 comma 3 4 comma 5. 1 comma 2 comma 3 are the elements, and then 4 comma 5. Okay, if I do this, so log this arr and save it, you see we got, you see this 1 comma 2 comma 3, and then the third index contains another array. See, okay, and it could be nested also. That means one array has another array, that array has another array. Clear? What, everyone clear what I'm telling you right now? Anyone has any doubt? Not clear, Ashutosh. Okay. So Ashutosh, what I'm saying, right? See, like this. What I told you, that ARR2. So I told you a array can contain any kind of element. True. It could contain string. It can also contain array. See, array is a type, correct? Array is a data type, right? It can also contain its own data type. Basically, array can contain an array, right? So consider I created another array here. Say this is my uh, array 1, consider arr1. Okay, in arr1 I have given say 5 comma 6, so this is an array. What I'm saying, this array can also come inside here. So basically arr2 is an array which contains 1 comma 2 true asd, and then another array also it contains. And if I do a console log, if I do a console log of this arr2, you will see what we got. 1 at 0th position we have 1, then 1, then we have 2, at second index we have true, third index we have asd, at fourth index we have another array which is 5, which is having the index 0 and then 1. Everyone? No, so the Bhupender, there is no limit as such how many you can add. But again, when you add, you yourself should know, right? Otherwise, you will get confused. So you should, for example, if I could also do something like this. See, AR3 equals to 1 comma 1 comma 2 comma 4 comma 8 comma 23 comma 25. See, I can do that. Problem, it's not about whether you can do it or not. The question is whether you will be able to understand what you did or not. You're getting what I'm saying? See, this is the array. Now, are you able to understand what is happening within this? Right? So we don't have any, see, just because you do not have limitation, you shouldn't be doing it. For example, nobody is stopping you to fall from a chat, right? For fall from your roof, right? For example, you can go to your terrace and you can jump from there, right? Nobody is stopping you. But should you do that? You shouldn't be doing that, right? Simple इतना है. मतलब छत से कूदने के लिए कोई बोलेगा नहीं, इसका मतलब ये थोड़ा ना छत से कूद जाओ जाके. So Pushkar, how this shows index wise, that is what your console is doing for you. So a console is providing you this feature. So your browser is actually providing you this feature, that it is showing you by index also. Okay. Now with this index thing, what if you want to access a particular index? What if you would like to access the element, a particular index? The same thing which we did with string, the same thing we can do even here. For example, this is what our array was, right? We would like to say access the first element of this array. So from array 2, I would like to access the first element, which is say on the zeroth position. Now what is on the zeroth position? 1. So what did I get here? Can you see here? Let me do console.clear here first so that we have clean thing. So we got 1. Acha, one more thing guys, huh? You remember like whenever I'll be sharing this code, I'm just keep on writing console.clear. So obviously you will not be able to see this entire code. What you need to do, you first need to comment this code, right? So that you could see this console. Everyone knows this, right? Why I wrote console.clear? Because I want to clear everything which we have done before this, right? However, when you guys will be using this code, make sure that you comment this thing. Length should always be 2. No, nothing like that. Shapshi, aisa nahi hai. Wait, we'll do this thing. Just a minute. Huh? So what I was saying, we got 1 here. Now, what if I would like to access the second index item, which is 0, 1, 2. This is the second index item, right? So I got true. What if I would like to access the third index? I got ASD. What if I like to access fourth? I got the array itself, ARR1. What if I would like to access fifth index? But it is not there. The fifth thing is not there. If it is not there, undefined. If it is not there, what we get? Undefined. Clear? Now, one more thing. If you remember in the string, I told you in string also we can access like this, right? However, in string we cannot change the value of it. So whatever is the value at that particular index, we cannot change because string is immutable. Immutable in the sense it cannot be changed. But array can be changed. Array change ho sakta hai. How? Consider ARR2. I would like to change 0, 1, 2, 3, third index, right? So I'll just say on third index, I would like to say I changed this value. This is what I would like to say. Okay. Now if I say console log the ARR 2, the array 2, now you see what is happening. I change this value is coming instead of ASD. Earlier it was ASD, but I changed it to something else. So I can do this. I can do this. Clear? Can I get a thumbs up, thumbs down? Okay, cool. So Bhupinder has given this one. Good. Okay, see Bhupinder. Consider I have another, or we have said Bhupinder error. New error, no, not error. We have new array, Bhupinder. Okay. So we have new array, which is 1. So now Bhupinder, tell me. This is the 0 index. This is the first index. This is the third index. What do you want? What do you want to access? So Bhupinder wants to access 51. 0th index, first index. That means 51 is coming in the first index. Okay. So I'll just say console.log Bhupinder. Which one? First index. First index. Now this guy, see, I have accessed the, when I said first index, I was able to access this guy. Okay. Now this guy is what? This guy is an array. And in an array, what do I want to access? 51. 51 is having the index what? 0, 1. So I'll use another bracket and I'll say 1 again. And if I do that, I get 51. Clear? Okay? This is how it is, right? That's the thing. And it could be even more, right? It could be even more. For example, if you have something like instead of getting 51, say 51 is giving you another array. Just think this way. 51 is giving you 1 comma 12. So now if I want to access 12, this is how I'm accessing 12. So what you need to do, right, when you are writing this code or whenever you are seeing this kind of a code, just think this way. Okay, Bhupinder first. Okay, here. Just see, forget about this thing. First, go by left. Okay, this thing. What is this? Okay, this is this one. Okay, fine. Now, if you need to apply this one, you are actually applying it on this. So when you applied this, you basically got this guy. Now the other one we are applying, you are actually applying on this one. So you got 12. Okay. Okay, what is the index of 51? How will we find it? So Piyush, there are ways that you can find it. Okay, for that there are some inbuilt functions which we have in the array, which we will talk about. And then we also have something called loop. Okay, loop. When we'll talk about loop, at that time you will get some logic about it. Okay, so there are inbuilt function which I'll be talking in some time. There you will understand some more things. Cool. Okay, now we know how to access the elements. Everyone, anyone has any doubt? Now what if you look, you, so for example, right now whenever we created an array, like let's just clean everything here. Console.clear. So we have cleared everything. Now let's create another array. Okay, let's create another array. ARR, another array in the sense same ARR. Now we have one comma. See, every time I'm creating an array, 1 comma 2 comma 3. So I am giving the value when I'm creating itself. Like at the time of creation itself, I have given the value, right? So we see that console.log, this ARR is actually 1 2 3. 1 2 3, good. Now what if I would like to add more things to it? So initially it had 1 2 3. What if I would like to add more items to it? So what I could do, there are 2 3 ways that I could do it. One way is, so I'll just say add, and these things, right? These are the things which we called elements of the array. So now I would like to add elements to array. I would like to add elements to the array. How do I add it? So one way is push. We can do push. Now what is this? See, I can say ARR push. Now what is push? Push is inbuilt function. Push is inbuilt function which JavaScript has provided you. Now in push you tell what you would like to push. I would like to push 12. Okay. Now after pushing, what I will do is I'll say console.log ARR. Now let's see what happens. So we had array. Initially it was 1 2 3. Then I pushed 12 to it and I got 1 2 3 12. So what happened when I'm pushing the element, a new element is getting added at the last of the array. At the last of the array. This is one way that I can do that. The other way which you could do, right? Second way is direct access. What you can do, so right now I know in this array we have element till third index, and I would like to enter the element at the fourth index. Consider this. I could also say ARR, I could directly access fourth index, and I can give a number, say 52 or 53, and I say console log ARR now. So I see what 53 has been added here. Okay, but this is the preferred way. This is recommended, that this is how you should be adding the element. Now why? Because if I do this way and I do some mistake, for example, I knew that my array had only four elements, so that's why I entered in the fourth index. What if I do something like this, that ARR 10, I directly enter the element at 10 index. So obviously fifth, sixth, seventh index do not have any elements, right, in it. So what will happen is, you see, I got empty 5 times here. Empty 5 times. So basically we have elements and then we have empty elements. So we have an array which is having empty elements in between. That is something we should not have, right? You see here. So what is those empty elements? See, it is not showing those elements here. Now if I would like to access that, if I would like to access that index ARR 5, see, what I'll be getting is undefined, and that is something we should not do. Okay, so that is why the preferred way is push. The preferred way is push. No. So push, you will be pushing one item at a time, Bhupinder. It's one item at a time. So you cannot do some. I think you cannot do it like this. So you cannot have like 12. Oh, you can do it, right? Okay, you can do it. Usually, actually, they must have improved it. Earlier, were not able to. You can do it, but should you do it or not? That's your choice. I mean, usually, I will not recommend to do that. I will not recommend to do that because it becomes confusing, right? Sometimes. Instead, better way will be, right, Pupender. The thing is, what you could do, you can first create an array. Consider This will be the better way, I'll tell you. You can say ARR equals to, or some new array, let new, I'll say this is more readable. So consider you want to these elements, right? You would like to enter 23, 56, and 56. So what you could say, ARR dot push this new array. This is more readable, I feel. Okay, instead of directly giving those 23, 25, 26, all the numbers in the place itself, this thing is more readable. And this both doing the same stuff only, but I prefer, like, this is more readable, I would say. Like, when you're reading your code, it is like, okay, you're pushing a new array which has those many elements. Okay, clear? This also should work. What if you would like to enter, Rahul is saying 12. So when we were doing push, we were putting the element at the end, right? We were putting the element at the end. What if you would like to put the element in the front? In that case, what you will be doing is, I'll say ARR dot unshift, 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 I'm saying 0. In console, then I will do console dot log my ARR, my array which I have created, and save it. Now this time, see, 0 actually came in the front. Can you see that, everyone? So unshift is something which will put the element in the front, and push will put the element at the end. मैंने गलत बोल दिया ना. Unshift will put it in the front, and push will put it at the end. Cool. And we already know that by directly using the element also we can use the index and we can change the item. We can directly use the index and we can change the item. Now what if you need to remove the item? So what I'll do, right, one more thing I will do, this wala, right, sorry, this one, I will comment this line and I will also mention it, not recommended because you may introduce undefined items. Correct? If you do this way, you may introduce undefined items. Correct? That is what I was saying. So now our array is looking clean. Now remove. What if you, so we have entered the elements. You can make empty, and so yeah, you can do it, right? See, one thing is that you can say ARR equals to empty. You can create an empty array if that is what you are asking, Bhupinder. So for example, you can say ARR equals to empty. So you can always start with an empty array and then add elements to it, or you can have elements to it and then you add more elements to it. So this is also fine. This also works. Okay, ARR equals to empty array. Now what I was telling you is that removing the elements, right? So right now if you see, I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, and 53, right? What if I would like to remove an element? Okay, I'll say removed element equals to ARR dot pop, pop. And if I say pop, right, this pop, what it will do, it will remove the item and it will return that item also to me. So this is the assignment operator, right? So it will remove the item and give me that item in the removed element. Okay, so what I will do, I'll say console.log what is the item which is being removed, actually, that I can see, and after that I can also see what is the array now. Like, how does my array look now? Okay, save here. See, the last element was 53, so it removed 53, so I got removed element is 53. After that I got my array which has 0, 1, 2, 3, 12. 53 is gone. 53 is gone. Now what if you need to remove? So what I say, remove last element. Okay, why 53, Nikhil? Because pop, what pop does, right? You remember how push was and giving the element at the last. What pop does, it removes the element from the last. So what happened? See, when I say ARR.pop, so pop is a inbuilt function. What it does, it will remove this 53 from the array and will return it. It will give it back. It will give it back. So basically this code is getting executed and this code is giving you 53 back, and this 53 is going to removed element. Okay, and then the array, if you see, it is coming as without 53 and removed element is what? 53. Clear? Now what if you would like to remove the first element? So here you removed the element which is in last. What if you would like to remove the element from the first? Then what you can do is say arr dot shift arr dot shift. Okay, and then you say console dot log whatever the element which you have shifted. Okay, and now if you see console dot log your arr, let's see that. So the element which we removed is 0, right? 0 we have removed, and now our array has become 1 2 3 12. Right, now what if you would like to remove from middle? Let's see. Actually, for removing it from the middle, you actually have to make changes that will require you to have, you have to run loop for that. Okay, so basically what you will be doing, you will go one by one. You will basically, so if you need to remove 2 from, like for example you have 1 2 3 12 and you would like to remove this 2, right? So one way is that you could use this thing, right? What is that? There is this function which we had in array, I think splice. सर नहीं नहीं बताता हूँ मैं, एक सेकंड, मुझे ध्यान नहीं आ रहा. हाँ, splice. हाँ, splice is the one which you can use. So splice can remove the exact element which you would like to remove, right? So you could say splice and it will remove that item from the middle. Or there is another way, I mean another way, I mean another way of doing it is by using loop. You could basically loop through each item, then you have to create another array, something like that you could do. But that is something we'll do when we'll be working on loops. Okay, for splice, if we need to do it, let's do this. 1 minute. Oh, we already have 9:02. Let's do one thing, let's have a break of 10 minutes. Let's be back at 9:12 and then from we'll start from there. Okay, let's everyone be back.